So it's not the first time that you're going to slide off and do something really stupid.
Oh, 2 NOS cans is too thick.
I'm gonna apologize for my language right now.
When have you arrived is when you get invited by Flutto to go to Cutter's Camp.
You're listening to the Blade Dive Podcast. Now, the man who prefers the center seat stacks loaves of snow using the sound of his voice and is able to refuel his machine, but not the DEF tank. And unlike others, very much enjoys snowcats and sunset photos. Here's your host, Parker Bohan.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blade Dive, presented by Prenoth. It's good to be back on the microphone. Missed it. Certainly did. A lot going on in life right now. A lot going on with the career. It's good. Life is good. It's just July and it's hot outside right now. So, but down to some business really quick. The Blade Dive's website is still very much a place to listen to the episodes, but it's also a great place to advertise for your operations job at your resort. So if you're looking to hire for a terrain park manager, grooming manager, snowmaking manager, lift mechanic, vehicle maintenance mechanic, dozer operator, whatever it is, give me a shout. There's a form on the website for you to fill out. Just click submit, go straight to me, and let's dial it in. Let's get the logo up there. Let's make it look super sexy, make it pop. Get the job description online as well. We had a lot of success with that last year, so we're going to keep that thing rolling. All right, episode 51 is Sam Magazine's Cutter's Camp 2025 Fireside Chat. This event has certainly become an annual migration for myself, and I'm grateful to Prenoth for getting me up there. Thankful to Sam Magazine for allowing me to host the Fireside Chat. Appreciate that. But at the end of the day, our panel over the last couple of years has been amazing. And this year's is no different. We've got Maddie McConomy, Elia Hamilton, Brandon Dodds, and Myles Grote. We've got special guest appearances by Chris Grenier of the Bomb Hole, Josh Dirksen. There's a lot, and there's a lot of laughs in this one as well too. So I certainly appreciated the time and all the topics covered. But I'm going to put the mic down. Intro's done. Let's jump into this episode. Episode 51. Here we go.
Go ahead and give it the juice. Already.
Hey, so I want to echo the sentiments of both Olivia and Ben while I kind of work through the logistics of this microphone right here. But I also want to take the time to introduce our panelists because some of you may have met them and some of you may have never met them before. So I'm going to go from my right to my left. So we've got Mr. Myles Grote, who is operator aficionado, demo trainer, hails from the Midwest. Previously was the terrain park manager at Buck Hill and has worked at Sugar Bowl and other places as well. And then we've got the legend himself, Mr. Brandon Dodds, next to him with the Stomping Grounds and Sugar Bowl. So thanks, Brandon, for being here. Appreciate you, bro. And then we've got Maddie McConomy to the left, or to the right, my left of Brandon. Maddie is the master welder, artist aficionado at Arena Snow Parks. So please welcome Maddie. That's awesome. And then we've got, I would say a legend in the room with Elia Hamilton and his contributions to the industry, as well as his tenure with Cutter's Camp 2. So Elia Hamilton, welcome, man. Stoked you're here. Yeah, absolutely. Let's please give a huge round of applause for the panelists. Okay. And then Timberline. Is Tyler in the room anywhere? Where's Tyler? Did he leave? Where's Tyler? Let's give a shout out to Tyler. Fucking hell. Tyler. Thank you, Tyler and the team at Timberline, Logan, that whole crew. It's super impressive how they accommodate us here. I think the ask is quite large, and then the achievement at the end of the week is fantastic with what folks learn, and then what's achieved on snow. So Tyler, hats off to you, bro, and your crew. Thank you so much. I think what's always interesting with the podcast is that I try to, involve various people to kind of open the show for us. And this year is no exception with the Fireside Chat. So I can't take full credit for this one, but I'm super stoked on it. So Chris Grenier from the Bomb Hole has taken the opportunity to ask the panelists a question or two. I'm going to try not to fuck this up and play it so everybody can hear the audio. And so bear with me. But yeah, Chris Grenier, thanks so much for contributing and to being a part of the Sand Magazine Cutters Camp 2025. Here we go.
Greetings, Cutters Camp. Chris here from the Bomb Hole. I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the hard work that you guys do. You guys are truly the unsung heroes of snowboarding. I know you've heard that before, but the countless hours in the cat and setting rails and treacherous conditions and all that you guys do, all the hard work behind the scenes, you guys don't get the credit you deserve. So thank you guys so much. You guys are the glue to this snowboard community in so many ways. And to add to that, thank you so much for your tolerance of entitled snowboarders that, just show up and bitch after you guys have put in hours and hours in the cat. So thank you for your patience, and you guys are heroes. So moving along, I'm going to get into my first question, which is, I think about this with building concrete skate parks or motocross tracks or things like that, where they put a lot of these hours in skid steers and dozers, and it kind of lives forever. Do you guys ever, after spending hours and hours and hours pushing some magnificent feature, a super pipe, a big jump, a park, all for it to only live for a month or 2 or 3 or 4 months, and then it all just melts? Does that ever make you sad? It's a lot of work. Sometimes just for a shoot for a few days, all for it to go away. It's kind of a crazy deal sometimes when I think about it. Part 2, my other question, thinking about the progression of terrain parks, you watch videos from the early 2000s and you look at the jumps, and man, we've come a long way. I hit one of Charles's jumps recently, and it was just so perfect. It was a goddamn touchdown landing. It was just perfect. Like, you guys have elevated our sport so much with the builds that you guys have been doing and the craft you've been perfecting. I guess my question to you guys would be, in a top to bottom park run, what are the key ingredients to the perfect park run? That's what I want to know. Okay, those are my 2 questions, and thank you guys so much for all that you do. Have a great day. Have some fun out there. See you guys.
Awesome questions. I would probably kick it off with Elia, just because a little bit of dirt. I know that Chris, as you and I talked offline, kind of cut his teeth on your jumps. So you can take it however you want, part 2 or part 1 first, and dissect it. But take it away.
Yeah, those crappy jumps from the early 2000s, those were mine. Yeah. That's what he was talking about. Chris went to Mount Snow Academy, so I was super fortunate to, see him come up. My wife taught him French, kind of one of those random
That's a fun fact.
But,
yeah.
He ripped back in the day. He still does. Super fun. I would address the permanence question, because that's something that it's really intriguing to me. And I've done both, like a lot of dirt work, and I have also obviously done a lot of snow work. And I really appreciate the fact that my work disintegrates and I get to start over again. And it's like, when I went, I was in I'm an art school kid. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned in art school was to tear it up and start over again if it's not working.
No, I was just going to say too, like the opportunity to come up with what is the epitome of something that you would design based on the blank canvas that you're given and whatever the cadence is, so to speak. I guess is what you're kind of saying. Is that a correct interpretation?
Yeah, and it's repetition, it's practice, it's repetition. So, I love not getting attached to something that may have taken me 6 hours to build, because I get to see it utilized, I get to learn from it, and then I learn from my mistakes. I mean, I only made mistakes in 1998. I didn't. So everything's good now.
Oh my God. This is awesome. I love it. No, I'm going to use that line next time I'm being deposed. Hey, so I only made mistakes in 2007. The validity of what I've done in my entire career is credible.
And it's like, I think 7 years is the statute of limitations.
Yeah. I mean, we can work our way down the line if we want to, or if somebody wants to take a stab at it, go for it. Brandon, I'm going to call you out. Sorry, bud.
We're not going down the line?
No.
So I was going to say, it doesn't necessarily make me sad, but it's definitely disappointing when you have to tear down everything. But I liked Elia's point of view. I think I'm more on that. It gives you a chance to be creative again and redo whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But like, for example, we just did a 12-day build for Red Bull.
Okay.
A 3-day event and tore it down.
Where was this?
Solitude.
Oh.
And then we did
Utah.
and then we did a 15-day build at Jackson Hole. They rode it for 3 days and we tore that down. And it took all of like 3 hours to tear down stuff we put like 60 hours of cat time into.
Well, I can kind of piggyback off that. Like when me and my crew built heavy metal for the last 2 years, we put days and days into that build. And then you watch people ride it for like 3 hours. And then immediately after that event, you start ripping out the snow and getting rid of it. And it does make you sad. Like, when you're done ripping out the snow, like I would stand there at the top of those stairs at the state capitol and be like, we just put so many hours into this. And then it took us like 6 hours to get rid of the snow. Like there is a little bit of sadness to it, especially at like events like that.
Yeah. Are you speaking specifically to just like what went down in relation to what you created?
Yeah. And just the hard work that my whole crew put in. I mean, the process of putting those heavy metal events together at the state capitol in Minnesota, like they don't let us drive equipment there. It's garbage cans of snow up those stairs for every in-run. How
many garbage cans of snow are we talking?
I wish I kept count, but we would haul trash cans up we'd fill them all the way up and we'd carry them up with 6 people. And we did that for 11 or 12 hours. Like, we did that all day Thursday, start at 3 p.m. and we'd be done early in the morning the next day. And then the next day we come in and we do more shaping. We do and then we, chainsaw everything, make everything look perfect. And then, they ride it for like 3 hours and then it's done and you tear it out. And it's like, fuck, that was a lot of work.
So, no. I'm picking up what you're putting down, but like to Elia's point, things naturally kind of dissipating comparatively to where you're taking down manually what you manually installed.
Right.
So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a lot easier to watch it melt gradually throughout the year than it is to just put this whole project together and then destroy it right away.
Yeah, totally. How do you motivate yourself to take something down after you've built something like that?
Smelling salts.
Oh man, Maddie, I'll kick it to you. If it's not snow, whatever the metal is, if something leaves the welding bay, but yeah.
Everything I make, I hope outlives me, but a lot of
Ooh, that was deep.
A lot of
That was
it's
awesome.
Metal.
That was awesome.
I think the only reason I'm hoping that the things I make are gonna fall apart is negligence. But at the same time, I like the job security in that. When you guys break stuff, I hope it's not the cat. And it's
Elia, did you just see how she framed that? Where the negligence part is totally something I can use in the podcast, versus where yours was
that's a better tack
I have to edit out. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, keep going. I had to interrupt there.
No, definitely kind of the same as Myles says. Like for one rail to be built, used for one event, and then it not really be versatile enough to put in a park or for anyone else to use it. Like that kind of hurts because I put my heart and soul into these things, but I can't imagine how it would feel for it to just melt away. So,
yeah.
Well,
I guess like
the
ultimate, like, does it make you sad, Brandon?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't make me sad.
All right.
It's a little disappointing at first, but
Oh, that's a bigger word. Yeah.
I'm not sad. I'm disappointed. Yeah. Heard that a few times.
sound like my mother.
Well, no, I mean that was a really cool contribution. Like I said, I just in brainstorming as to what we could possibly put together for this year's Fireside Chat. I think I'm always trying to reinvent the wheel, and sometimes it's a bad thing. But we had some really cool contributions last year, thanks to Oren Tanzer and Pat Moore being a part of the show, and Jamie Lynn. And so it was like, hey, how can we up that? I don't know if we can or if we could, and I don't know if that's the objective. But so to are you pointing to yourself, Elia, like the fact that you're here? Oh, okay, yeah.
You're comparing me to Jamie Lynn?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
yeah.
Duh.
Duh. But having the outside contributions and the questions that come in from the riders themselves or people who are part of the snowboard community, I think it makes it come full circle, because there's definitely something that campers can take away from listening to the conversations that happen at camp. But to have questions posed to the panel that maybe I wouldn't even think of. I wouldn't have thought of that question. So I thought that was really cool. So huge thank you to Chris. I do want to talk about our esteemed panelists up here that are in front of me. And specifically, I think the conversation, I'd like to direct it more towards like the career path and the trajectory. And I want to bring up a point, and I might bring it up, and he's going to kill me for bringing it up. But Yosh is in the room. Where are you, Yosh? Where you at? There you are. Hey, bud. Yosh and I were talking recently. If you don't know Yosh, a longtime operator, terrain park manager, risk manager for Mountain Capital Partners nowadays. But we were talking about kind of the linear moves that within the industry people tend to make. It's, hey, I want to be the day crew person, or then I want to be the terrain park supervisor, and then I want to be the terrain park manager, and inevitably, the manager. And I think that's going to put me in a position to probably be the mountain manager, the director of mountain operations. And I think that was just a thought and a comment from him that blew my mind, because that was my mindset, and that's where I wanted to go, and that was not how I achieved where I wanted to be. And I'm definitely happier where I am now. But to land the plane and get to my point, as my wife would say. But Gator, unfortunately, Gator's not here with us this year. But Gator was always talking about Elia's ability to speak that C-suite language, that even that legal language, that corporate speak that you had, and that you were either born with, or maybe it's BS and you just learned how to do it. I don't know. But that you taught him. And I think as you've kind of changed and morphed your career into or you've placed yourself in different entities, whether it was your choice or not, how did you learn how to do that, speak that way? And how have you used that to leverage the experience or the job that you have now?
I think this is kind of a cop-out, but a big part of it is just my personality. And I find communicating with people, something that I enjoy doing, and getting to their level, whatever that level might be.
Yeah.
There's a term for it when you kind of change your accent depending on the region you're in. Like, I'm totally guilty of that. Like, I don't know what that's called, but
I don't have that. I don't have an answer for that.
Assimilation?
Assimilation, is that the word? Can somebody Google
Assimilation?
that? I think that's it.
That sounds fantastic. I don't know who said that, but
I got you.
Maddie said it. She's right next to you.
So, I'm a people pleaser. Like, I like to make people happy. I like to work with people. I like to adapt. I'm probably more adaptable to others than they are to me. So I think it just, if I need to, so coming up in terrain parks from like 0 to 60, when there was no such thing as like a terrain park department, and having the really the honor and the opportunity to build a department from scratch back in the day, that was, if I needed something, I had to speak their language. Like, whether that was the frontline groomers who fucking hated me, or that was my boss, or if it was my boss who wanted me to stay within budget, like selling the ideas to those different groups of people up or laterally or up in management, was just something that I had to do to survive. There was nobody else that I could lean on to kind of say, hey, this needs to get done tonight. It was like to turn around and look at myself. So I needed to lean on a lot of people to help me with resources, money, time, effort. And in order to do that, I had to learn how to speak the language, you know.
Yeah, so it's essentially derived from the different departments that you were exposed to and understanding what their needs were, kind of like reading the room.
Yeah, I guess so. And I'm not saying I'm necessarily good at that, but it was more of a survival tactic.
Yeah.
And in order to get what I wanted to get accomplished done, I needed to be able to communicate with a broad swath of people. And somehow, like, I was not an English student by any means. I was horrible at that stuff. But when it comes to something that you're really interested in, like, suddenly you can kind of find the language and sound more articulate and work your way through it. I don't believe Gator, actually.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, go back to my original question. Is that BS, or did you learn how to do that? Is it something you're born with?
Not intentionally. I mean, it was just, again, it was survival. It was like, if I wanted to have the park open tomorrow, like, I needed this, and this. And either I did it myself or I had to ask for help. And in order to ask for help, people need to kind of like you in order to, if they're going to help you, especially, you know, at that time when it was relatively new. I mean, the groomers, the trail guys, they threw every roadblock humanly possible in my way. And so I had to endear myself to them in order to convince them. And I know you're talking about business language.
Correct.
But I think that that communication, it's all over the place. It's the same thing with your boss. It's the same thing with your boss's boss. You know, you need to kind of see things from their angle and then be able to communicate why this makes sense and look at it from a business perspective. This is not just an art project. This is like you're trying to build something that's drawing people to your resort. And so if you can explain that to the people who control the finances and speak their language about it and be like, here's the ROI, here's the this, the that, throw out whatever random annoying term you want to. It's just kind of what you got to do, I guess.
Yeah, no, I totally think you landed the plane there and made the point. That was sick.
Sweet, thanks.
Yeah,
somebody give me
awesome.
a beer.
No, he's empty. Maddie, I'm gonna kick it to you. You know, you and I have caught up before, and our conversation is absolutely incredible. If you haven't listened to Maddie's Blade Dive, you should absolutely check it out. But I don't think that welding was, for ASP the end goal. I don't know if that was like the dream from day one or resorts in general.
No, it was a straight up backup plan. I was like, oh, I like the ski industry, but my family really pushed like post-secondary education and like skills. So I ended up doing that. I really liked it. And then a few years later, as a continuing just doing random jobs to snowboard, I came across the Arena like Instagram page and I was like, oh my goodness, I can use welding in this industry? Like that's crazy.
That's awesome.
I pushed a lot. I tried to get into terrain parks and eventually I did. And I was just like, it was kind of weird. I didn't know like what like to do to get there, but I was like, I know that's what it is. So I just tried to like tell everyone around me that that's what I wanted to do. So if the opportunity came up, I didn't like miss out on it. And here we are. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. Was it it probably wasn't like a pitch or an interview. I don't know what it was like to land that kind of gig, but
nah, I got really lucky and I was at Threadbow, which is where I worked for a long time down in Australia. After a year on park crew, I was like, yo, I want to build. And I was really lucky. A lot of the people around me were like asking those questions, like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to build, I want to weld, I want to put stuff together that's fun and that people are going to get excited about. And then, because I made that known and I wasn't like, I don't know, questioning myself, I got the opportunity to actually like the first decent build that I had some sort of guidance with, because everything else was just like, well, you got this, here you go. And that was fun, but what is actually in Charles's garage. Yeah, Charles.
Oh, no way.
We built probably 5 or 6 features. And then I just mentioned, I was like, oh, I want to go back to Canada. Like working for Arena would be really cool. And then I mentioned it to another friend. And then this industry just did its work. And next thing I know, I was on a video call with Lucas and Steve. And yeah, I felt really lucky. But at the same time, I was like, no, I like put that out into the world. Like, even though I had no idea how to go about it, I was just like, I'm just going to share what I want to do. And hopefully it works out, and it did, and now that's really, really cool.
But I guess another question would be like, do you prefer or do you enjoy teaching how to weld more than you do building a feature?
Ooh, I like both a lot. It depends how challenging and creative the feature is. A lot of times it's just kind of putting a puzzle together, which is great. But yeah, teaching people and seeing like them react to welding, because actually something I talked about with a lot of the people I taught to weld at She Grooms was kind of similar to cat operating. Like, it's intimidating because it's so difficult to get into, but once you have that chance, I believe anyone can learn how to do it. It's just a lot of barriers to get there. Like, welding equipment is expensive. Not as expensive as cats or like...
Very, very, very good point.
Yeah, but it's not something you can just like go buy a hammer and a piece of wood and learn how to build something. It's quite the undertaking.
Totally.
So.
No, you come across as the empathetic welding instructor. I mentioned that in kind of the notes that we ran through recently at She Grooms that you participated in.
Yeah,
so
that was pretty special.
Seeing that from afar and the approach that you had, yeah, that was rad. Because I wish I had that when I was learning as well. Rather than what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? You know, when people were teaching me how to weld, that looks like a bird shit, not a bead.
The first step of being good at something is being pretty shit at it. So you can't take them down at that point. That's not fair.
Touche, for sure. Brandon, I'm going to kick it over to you, man. You know, if you could move out to Tahoe still, would you? If you could rewind the clock and go back to Tahoe.
Absolutely.
Okay. And if you could ever, pick up the excavator and whatever else and, install snowmaking pipe with J-Rid, would you do that?
Oh, 100%.
Awesome.
Yes. I miss the excavator.
What, I guess knowing what you're doing now and where you came from, what is maybe the number one lesson or the thing that's humbled you to kind of realize that your value or maybe know your value in the industry and stand firm on that? I think that's hard to do, right? Like you're expressing to people like that essentially you're the shit. So pay up.
Well, he is.
Thanks, man. I don't know. For me, I've always come back to what's true to me, and it's terrain parks. So I thought I was going to do the traditional route and, start hand crew, go to park manager, maybe grooming manager, and eventually be a mountain manager. That's what I thought my path was going to be. But I've always come back to parks because that's where my heart's at. I've turned down multiple mountain operations jobs, grooming manager jobs, just because it wasn't true to me. Like, I'm true to terrain parks. I love terrain parks and I want to be a part of it. So I've just kind of kept trying to reinvent myself to stay relevant and to support a family, because now I have a family. So that's the hardest part now, is trying to figure out how to make a decent living in the ski industry.
Yeah, because there's not really a linear path to try to figure that out.
No, not at all. And you kind of got to promote yourself and put yourself out there. And sometimes it sucks and it's scary, but you just got to call the right people, talk to them. And it's a lot like Elia was talking about too. It's like who you know. Like, it's all about taking those relationships to the next steps. I mean, I have multiple mentors in here. Day, Corley, Landon, Elliot. Like, without those two, it's like they gave me a lot of connections to the people that gave me jobs. And so, yeah.
No, it's all about relationships for sure. But I think knowing your worth is super important, because I feel like that's a moment. Yeah, Maddie's agreeing with me. But like when you know what you're worth, you know when you need to move on. I think that's
yes, and yeah, like, I mean, I know what I'm capable of doing. I see what other people are capable of doing. So yeah, I try to stick to those values and sell myself as that. And, if you get the opportunity, fucking make the most of it.
Yeah.
Every opportunity, you have to make the most of it if you want to get another one.
Yeah. How did you go about asking the right questions to acquire the skill sets that you have now?
Just ask questions. I wasn't shy.
I know that, but that's the simplicity of it. I guess I was hoping that you would just say that, because I think so many times it's scary to reach out to people that you maybe put on a pedestal. But
yeah, and it is. But like Elliot Cohen shows up at your mountain, you don't just go home for the night. You ask Elliot if you can ride along in his cat.
There you go.
And you hang out. And then when he's doing stuff, you say, hey, why the fuck did you do that? I just noticed you did that with your tiller. Why'd you do that?
Yep.
And then he'll explain it to you. Well, this is because the snow conditions are doing this or whatever.
Yep.
So like, I don't know. It's true. There is no dumb question. Just ask the question.
Yeah, no, the only stupid question is a question that's maybe never asked. But I guess like my point would be, if you're hitting a wall there, do you agree or disagree that maybe if you're not receiving that support for maybe the inquiries that you're getting, that it is that time to move on and go somewhere else to a different resort to get that question answered?
Yeah.
Like if you're seeing the resistance.
I mean, now you have social media, you have everything. So
I know, totally.
Everybody's just a message away. So like, if you do want to find something out, just message the people.
Except for me, I'll get back to you in 24 hours.
Yeah. But no, I don't necessarily think it means you need to move on. It just, I don't know. You got to find the right answer, I guess.
Yeah. Myles, I was going to bring up, I'm a huge Braves fan, by the way. The Twins suck. Just so you know, they totally do. The Twins totally suck.
They're pretty trash this year.
They are. They suck. They totally suck. But I was curious, like knowing your and Brandon's connection, what makes skiing and riding, operating, being a part of the Midwest scene so special? Maddie liked that question.
Well, those are like two totally different things. I can start with the Midwest thing. Like, honestly, it's the rope toes. Not only does it just breed the greatest riders that we have, especially on rails, but it also creates like this community. Like, you don't have to ride down the hill, get on a chairlift, spend, in the Midwest, it's 3-4 minutes going up the chairlift. Like, you're on that rope toe. If you're tired, you're stopping at the top of the hill, and that's where everybody is. And so everybody is just friends, whether it's this 48-year-old guy, at Highland Hills, he's hanging out with these high school kids, and they're all having a blast, and they're all there for the same reason, to have fun. And like, when you can keep those people in the same spot all day long, like everybody gets along, everybody feeds off each other. The tricks just keep coming. Like, it's impressive watching these people in the Midwest on these rope toes.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what's cool is that we've had folks like Adam Mahler on this panel, to talk about what it is to be a part of Trollhagen. We've had Marcia Hovey up here to talk about Troll as well. The Midwest is definitely a place that I'd like to go seek out and, take a ride up the rope toe and visit what they have to offer. Bloody Marys. Bloody Marys. But the one thing that Brandon and I talked about years ago was the fact that he fucking stole docks to like off the lakes to create jibs. And I don't know if that's something that you did as well, but he didn't. He claimed that he put him back. I don't know if you did or if that was something that you explored as a Midwesterner.
I mean, I don't think I ever stole dock sections, but every time I'm out on the lake, like, I don't know, as a snowboarder, like every time you drive somewhere, like you see a handrail or you see a spot, like you're like, oh, well, there's a spot. And you drive around these lakes in the Midwest and there's just hills down to the lakes and
there's a lot of spots.
Endless like spots around the lakes. It's insane.
It's a lot of space.
And every time, even now, like at 37 years old, I'm boating around the lake with my wife and kid and I'll like stop and I'll sit and look at this spot and wife will be like, what are you looking at? Like, look at that. Like, that's a spot.
That's totally jibbable. Hold on, babe. Let me take a picture of this spot real quick. No, so it's totally a thing, but you didn't take them.
No, I never took any dock sections.
No, that's crazy.
But he lived closer to the lake than I did.
Yeah, I lived on the lake.
Oh, okay. Right on. I think one of the coolest things is we've talked about relationships already in this conversation, but so Dirksen has contributed a question. He was all the way over in Switzerland when he sent it over. I think it's really cool. It's a deep thought. It's a deep question. So yeah, take it away.
Hello, Cutters Camp. I'm Josh Dirksen. I'm a Mount Bachelor local and a pro snowboarder since the 90s. I've jumped a lot of snow features and even been involved in building quite a few things over the years too. My pipe and park building career started right up there on the hill at the Palmer Snowfield in the summer of 1995 at High Cascade Snowboard Camp. Our features started with a little raw cat work, but mostly things were hand-built with primitive tools. And things have come a long ways since then. Through my career, I've seen an incredible amount of progression in snowboarding. A lot of this progression has come from the riders, of course, but much of it has come from the builders, like yourselves, who create these opportunities for the riders to progress. Safer jumps, better landings, consistent features. None of this progression would have been possible without you all. So first off, I would like to say thank you and keep up the good work. These days, I spend a lot of time in Switzerland. Over here, the best resort for all types of riding is Laux, Kind of similar to Mount Bachelor, it's a true snowboard resort with the best parks, the best half pipe in the world, and tons of free riding. Also, what makes Locks unique is a program they're working on called Green Style. You can check it out on their website. They're working to create a sustainable alpine destination by focusing on energy, water, zero waste, consumption, and biodiversity. Part of this ambitious Green Style goal is to stop using fossil fuels by 2030 and supply the entire ski area with 100% new renewable energy. They mentioned to me that the biggest challenge that they will face will be replacing the heavy machinery, which includes the snowcats used to maintain the parks, pipes, and groomers. My question, where and how do you see the machinery used in park pipe building evolving? It's not just a question about zero emissions and energy efficiency, but also the question about features and abilities. How could snowcats improve and evolve? Lighter, more powerful, more nimble, longer runtime, quicker refueling? I want to know, as we enter the next generation of park pipe construction, what does your dreamy future for snowcats look like? And which of these ideas could help Locks succeed in their goals of not only having the best parks and pipes in the world, but also doing it while using 100% renewable energy? Thanks for your time. Enjoy. Look forward to hearing from Parker some of the answers. See y'all later.
Sweet. So as you could tell, he had a nice ambiance in the background with the birds and the trees in Switzerland. I think it's a really cool question. I'll kick it over to Elia first. I know, man. I'm picking on you. First time since 2019, ladies and gentlemen.
I guess I'll touch on technology first. I think what's happening right now is there's a lot of as terrain parks have evolved and almost become like there's more operators out there that are skilled at their craft, and we do a lot of the same things over and over and over again every night. So like you'll make a move 100 times a night. That's the same thing. When you go to till takeoffs, like you go through this dance of moves, no matter which manufacturer you're operating with, you kind of, you set your tiller down, you start driving away, you turn the tiller on, like that. You have this kind of orchestra of moves that you do that with software and the way things are all computerized now, we all have electronic valves, like all that stuff can become automated on some level. And I know that there's a lot of operators out there who want like the full manual experience. They want, like it's like a manual transmission argument, right? Like I want to have full control of everything that I do. But by allowing that technology to come in and kind of do that for you, it opens up the barrier for entry. And so I think that's where the future of technology is to recognize from the operator's perspective and from the feedback that you all give, like what are the things you do over and over and over and over and over again the same way every time that the cat could just do for you. So that's the beauty of this electronic era that we're in. As far as sustainability, I mean, everybody's trying to get away from fossil fuels. We have diesel electric, which is more efficient. It's a good path, but it's not zero emissions. Stage 5, Euro Stage 5 is pretty close to zero emissions, but you're still burning fossil fuel. Electric cats, hydrogen cats, there's a lot of work to do still to try to figure all that out. Electricity seems to be the future for anything that moves over the surface of the earth. But we need to get our battery technology better to make it. We need to be able to run for 12, 14 hours. I mean, that's what we do. So until we get to that point, I honestly have no idea.
I think not having an idea is a fair answer. Brandon, I'm going to throw it to you, bub.
I guess for me, it'd be more like I'd like to see longer push frames, longer stingers again, light, more nimble. Yeah, I mean, it's all stuff we've worked on. I mean, I've seen the cats go from crap to what they are now. So, but for me personally, yeah, it'd just be the shaping tools of the machine, I guess.
No, fair enough. Myles?
I think there's some just like efficiency things that you could do. Like there could be like you're building something, you want your blade straight and flat. There could be like a button combo where you hit that and it just automatically goes to there. Like there's just some efficiency things like that I think would be sick. But
Maddie, what do you got?
I don't have the cat science perspective on this, but
applicable anyway, though, I think, too.
Thanks. I think this approach is very interesting of like what we can do next, and I think that's awesome, and that's gotten us to where we are now. But I think is in the thought of sustainability, I'm like, when is like progress going to be good enough? Not in a sense of like,
fuck yeah.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Yes.
Like, my limited point of view is, like, I haven't been here to see the whole progress. Like, I'm fairly new to the cat driving world, but it's like we are so lucky to have what we have in the sense of, like, terrain that we get to use all year round and, like, our winters, and, like, we're seeing all of this. It's not necessarily in progression of quality, but, like, if we're searching for infinite growth in a limited environment, like it's going to end at some point. And I just think it's really important to like look around and like see what we have and be like really grateful for it and be like, hey, no, this is awesome. How can we make this last? Not necessarily make this infinitely perfect, because like, I don't know. I don't think that's...
If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, I was just going to say, too, like, I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I would say you're chasing more of a process than perfection.
Yeah, like, how can we, like, look at every single aspect and maybe not rush into what we think is going to be the goal that maybe will just be, like, a short-term goal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to, like, sit here and, like, shit on all the progress that we've made, but at the same time, I'm like... I don't think infinite growth is possible within an industry that relies so much on the weather and like things we can't control.
Is it, I'm going to say this and people will bite me for saying it, but like, is it a greenwashing thing that we're doing? Like, are there... I was like, fuck yeah.
I think yeah. Like, I think so. Like, painting a cat green is great and cool, and I think batteries are awesome, but like, what else? Like, are we so stuck in our little bubble that we can't look? And like, so much of snowboarding and terrain parks and all of that has come from other inspirations. So like, what can we pull from could we have like tram lines all over the resort and just have it plugged in? Like, I don't know. I think crazy ideas are what's gonna get it.
Only if we could have little trolley horns like ding ding as we're driving around.
Yeah.
Totally.
I just think crazy shit's gonna be the way forward.
Crazy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, innovation only comes from wild ideas.
I think so.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm sorry to take it there, but I think it's an okay place to ask that. This is an okay place to ask that question. I often wonder what are we doing? Are we doing too much, or are we doing enough? I think, are we spinning the wheels and kind of paying people ideas to come up with answers to questions that have maybe already been solved before, and we're spinning it differently? I don't know, but that's an awesome perspective. I appreciate it. I don't have a great segue out of this because I just want to keep this going. So I'm just going to call Charles, because he is texting the shit out of me right now and wants us to call him. So I'm just going to call him and we'll see if he answers. What's up, dude?
Not much, bro. Just got off the hill.
Oh, yeah? You just got off the hill?
Yeah.
Fantastic. How was your day? Thanks for answering, by the way. I'm sure you're exhausted.
That's all right. Better go have a voddy soda and pick back up. Yeah, it's a good day.
Nice.
Pushing lots of... No.
Mahler was giving you shit, or somebody was, because you said bloody soda, and so he was just curious as to what that was.
Oh, voddy soda. Vodka soda.
Oh, yeah, voddy soda.
Maybe tequila soda.
I thought he said bloody soda. My bad. Sorry, bro.
No. Sounds good, though. I'll try one.
Well, hey, real quick, thanks for taking the time to chat. I know you're busy, but just give us a quick update on where you are, what you're up to, what you're doing, all that jazz.
I'm in Mammoth right now, working with the Unbound crew. Just, we got like a Red Bull performance camp and a Burton/Red Bull photo shoot happening on the backside as well. So just here kind of working on the jumps and hips and things like that with Mikey Black and a few others. So, yeah, it's been really fun. Jake Harlison's here as well. So there's a couple of external contractors working with their guys, so their main park doesn't go to shit. So yeah, it's been a good time. I haven't really seen much riding because I've been stuck in the back just pushing blade stack after blade stack. But yeah, hopefully in a couple of days I'm done and I can go snowboard.
Yeah, loafing, stacking loaves of snow.
Yeah, soul destroying.
So we've got a couple of themes that are happening now within the conversation. So thanks for joining the live podcast. But we've had two professional snowboarders contribute to the conversation with Chris Grenier and Josh Dirksen. And I guess my question to you, Charles, as you've kind of let us know what you're up to, is how important is your relationship as a builder to the snowboard community or the professional rider, as far as whether it's feedback that you're receiving for your feature, or it's feedback for your shitty operating or whatever it is? Not that you're operating shitty. Sorry, I don't want to. I'm trying to speak like broad and ambiguous here. But like,
at one point.
But like, how are you leveraging that type of feedback, that type of relationship to build the product that you piece together?
Yeah, I think it's kind of probably one of the most important factors in park building. If you want to be the person building the features, you really have to, you have to obviously take a lot of pride in your work and put the effort in, but you have to also kind of basically every time you ask for feedback, which you should be doing, is just never expect a compliment. Always brace yourself for the worst and be prepared to act on it. Because I think like almost every time I'll, even with these Red Bull camps, like, lucky enough, most of the time, nothing needs to be tweaked, especially with the jumps, just because I've kind of done too many now. But I think it's more like you just step into it and always ask and really push them for like critical feedback, because sometimes people don't want to tell you something isn't quite right because they don't want to offend you. But if you can like portray yourself to other riders and people like that you really want constructive criticism because you want to improve the product and make it as good as you can, like and you're not going to get upset when you hear it, that's the fastest way to progress. Because at the end of the day too, like there's a lot of people that have opinions that don't really know what the fuck they're talking about. So just like identify the ones in your park that do, or if it's professional athletes, and you're building for that kind of caliber rider, customers always right. So just make sure you kind of do what they ask, and just make it good. Because at the end of the day, like if you don't know something's wrong, you can't fix it. So relationships and being open and friendly, and not sad. Sometimes it bums you the fuck out because you're in for an extra shift to like fix whatever mistake you might have made. But at the end of the day, if you don't get it right, then people don't hit it. So
dude, solid. I gotta kick it back to you. What would you ask of the panel? What's a question you would throw at the panel right now?
I don't know. I'm fucking having a mental blank right now. I just want to encourage them to keep pursuing it. And if they've ever got a question or something like that, I'm always happy to answer them too. Like, and just help the community and help people kind of progress as quick as possible, because I feel like that's key. And without feedback, you can't progress that quickly.
Love you, bro. You totally Louis vetoed that one, but I appreciate you.
Not Frank Wells, politician, not me.
Oh, hey man. Well, I appreciate the time. Let's catch up soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And I'm kind of bummed I'm not there. It's one of the highlights of the year every year, getting to see everyone and just get the cup filled back up with all the young, excited fucking park builders. So good luck to everyone. Have some fun.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Charles.
No worries, guys. See ya.
Later. That was cool. I know that we're running short on time because we have an evening to get to, and this goes by super fast. Like, I think when we originally had the call or planning for this, it was like, how the fuck are we going to talk for an hour? But it's already been an hour, and I definitely want to open up an opportunity for the group behind me to answer some push road questions.
The push row question of
Go for it. Hold that mic close.
Is it important to ride the stuff you build?
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, especially in the early stages, I think so. When you're coming up as a builder, I think it's important. That became less important for me when I got older and fatter. So I just changed my priorities and changed my answer to that question. But
No, you just stayed low to the ground. You did the flat boxes.
It's funny though, because you kind of get addicted to your own stuff. Like, I didn't like hitting other people's jumps. I only liked hitting my own jumps as I got older.
There you go.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, yeah.
But then once you get to that point where, say, you're building the bigger jumps and you're not comfortable hitting them anymore, you got to find yourself the right people to go hit those jumps and give you that honest feedback that Charles was talking about. Otherwise, you don't know what you got out there.
Yeah. And I said yes right away, but I don't mean that. You should be very passionate about it. You should absolutely love what you're doing. But I don't think necessarily you have to hit everything you build. So like Ben was a good example. Ben wasn't much of a park rider, but Ben would go out and sit next to the jump and watch people's body mechanics to figure out how the jump was reacting to the people. So like just something as simple as that. Just go sit in the park and watch people's body mechanics. You'll see if you're putting them in the back seat or if the jump's too flat. Like you'll see it really quick.
Wait. We're not talking about that though, right?
What's that?
We're not talking about that though.
Yeah, we're totally
because everything's perfect.
Everything's perfect. No negligence. Yes.
No, when did you say you
Absolutely.
You only made mistakes at what year? What was it? You
Yeah.
only made mistakes
98.
at 98. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Anyway, everything after that was good.
It's for safety. We have another question.
Sweet. Hey, I'm just wondering if you guys ever use float mode on the blade and what might be a good application for that.
Ooh, that's a good question.
So I am anti-float.
Why is that?
Because I'm one of those guys like Elia was talking about, like you should manually control it. And I was taught, like you steer your tiller and then you put it back to center. So like if I get in a cat and it's in float, it instantly triggers me.
Oh, you
start punching the dash?
Yeah, I called Myles out.
Yeah. What the fuck is
But
this thing
like,
in float
especially
for?
in terrain parks, like you have too many opportunities for it to float off. So I am very strict about locking my tiller and steering it
He said
around your
blade,
features.
though.
Yeah, blade though, dude.
He
Blade,
said blade.
Oh,
blade.
blade float.
Yeah. Were you hating on Myles for floating the tiller?
Oh, absolutely.
Jesus Christ. I like floating the
You
tiller.
wanted a little controversy.
Oh, he called me a lazy
I
groomer.
did.
But blade float, I can't say I've ever found an application for that. So.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever used it.
Damn, shots fired on the tiller. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
shots fired on the tiller.
I've seen more blade floating outside of the terrain park world in my career now, like
Okay.
with other operators. But it is pretty handy for like lift ramps, and if you're back blade and takeoffs, you've got your shape done, so you're not worried about you're just putting bladeroy on your takeoff before you till it out. It's pretty handy for that. Lift ramp's pretty handy. A lot of snowmobile trail groomer guys use it, but that's
Yeah, that's where I've heard it too. Snowmobile trails.
Yeah, which
So are they sitting there like this?
pretty much.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like this.
Guys sitting there like
Or like,
I'm not gonna.
Oh, you have
snowmobile-
dirt.
I can't do
You
that.
have
No,
dirt.
No,
Oh, boy.
There might be a few people in this room who groom snowmobile trails on the side. So,
oh, that's true. Shit.
It's
We love you, people that groom
It's
snowmobile
wonderful.
trails on the side.
It's really fantastic. Driving through the woods all night is awesome.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah, it's a retirement job. I'm telling you, dude.
Magical mystery woods. Anybody else got a hot take on that? Okay. Damn, Brandon, that was heavy. Love
Sorry,
it.
I get triggered on tiller float.
Any more questions? Rachel, where are we at?
I think this is just a quick one, just for Maddie. As a novice welder myself, how did you gain the confidence to fabricate features for like hundreds of other people to ride?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Good question.
Honestly, a lot of welding experience outside of the industry helped. And then going to school for it also helped. But at the end of the day, like, you just got to back yourself and practice. Like, welding is so much just drilling practice. Like, just keep laying beads down, and like accepting that like a pretty weld isn't always a perfect weld, and an ugly weld isn't always a weak weld. Like, I don't know, doing your research is pretty good, but I mean, looking around the room and being like, well, no one else is going to give it a shot, so I might as well be. Like, there's a lot of trial by fire. And like at the end of the day, you're not building bridges, you're building snowpark features, which like, I don't want to sit here and tell you to like lower your standards or like be happy with mediocre, but like you got to start somewhere. So might as well like try and be kind of shit rather than like not try at all. So
well, we're totally building rocket ships.
Yeah.
So being from the Midwest, I've only built park in Iowa and Wisconsin. So anybody who's groomed in Wisconsin or in the Midwest knows that there's some unforeseen challenges based off like the conditions that you have, whether it be space restrictions or anything like that, whether maybe it'd be like the models of your cats, you're working with something from like ages ago. So anybody who's worked in the Midwest, what would you say would be some unforeseen circumstances that maybe like we don't understand our limitations, but we just kind of put up with as far as like space, a 10-hour shift, people look at our resorts with a 400-foot vertical and they're like, you should groom that in 2 hours. With the bottlenecks and all of the turnarounds and all that, I mean, you're still putting 10, 12 hours out there and, you're comparing yourself to big resorts. So are you actually just wasting time, or is there something to be said about the Midwest resort, the smaller terrain that has these other challenges that other people don't understand?
Well, I'll start out.
Damn.
Like Matt Dunn at Pine Knob, he spends 10 hours in the snowcat every night. Ask those kids there if it's worth it. I bet every one of them says that 10 hours is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then, like, just restrictions or, like, other hard things. Like, if you want to get up on something, just build a ramp up to it. Well, in the Midwest, we don't have any extra snow to use. Like, what you have is what you have. And so you need to make that work. Like, say you're building jumps, and then you need to, you have to rebuild your takeoffs every so often, but you only have so much snow to do this. And rebuilding a takeoff, it takes, like, twice as much snow as what the takeoff actually looks like. And so you do have to kind of plan in advance. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it in the Midwest where you don't have very much snow. You got to plan out your builds. You got to do this. You got to make sure you got enough snow. And it is difficult. Like, just that stuff, like, it's hard. Like, sometimes winters are tough. 2 years ago, Adam knows, we made snow the whole year, and there was never enough snow. And when you did have enough snow, you built, and then it all melted away. And like, that's just the Midwest. Like, you have good years, you have bad years. 3 years ago, we had 100 inches of snow, which to a lot of you sounds like not a lot, but that was the most we had in
100
years.
inches is a lot.
And so, yeah, it's tough, but you just got to work with what you got and make it work.
I did a fair amount of work, and I'm an East Coast guy, but I did a lot of work in the Midwest. And I think what you were talking about earlier, Myles, was like, especially rope tow parks, the cycles and the number of uses of each of those features. They take a tremendous amount of work to put back together every night. You get the warmer temperatures, you get the butt cracks. Like, I've never seen such heavy use. And how much work it actually takes. What, dude? Was that?
No, that was great.
Never heard the butt cracks.
Is that like the equivalent of a mud finger, or like what are you?
I mean, they're everywhere. You get them on the takeoffs, you get them on the landings. It's like, it's
sorry,
insane.
keep going.
And
we all know what he's talking
Mahler
about.
and I ruined that one. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's all good. It's great. My eyes were super opened up coming from the frozen glacial, Vermont typical snow to the fluctuating weather, the soft, the hard, the soft, the hard. You make as much snow as you can possibly make in the shortest amount of time that you have, and then you got to put something together, and then the kids come and they absolutely destroy it, and then you've got to work all night to try to put it back together. It's a super challenging environment that you guys operate in, and mad respect.
Mad respect. Brandon, you got a take on that? You're talking about stealing docks.
No, because when I showed up at Buck Hill, they had like 6 feet of snow made everywhere, and
holy shit, yeah,
gravy. So
I appreciate everything that you do, Buck Hill. Thank you.
That was the most snow we had for jumps. So yeah, that worked out.
But I think it's the temperature fluctuations.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, we got a couple more.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, I got one. I come from a pretty small handle toe park in Western Maryland, I find myself with a struggle of if I want to build a jump versus having a full rail garden. Half of the people want to jump in the park. The other half want to have an extra 6 features to ride. Do you have any advice on how to find like a balance of maybe when would be a good time to take a third of your rail garden away to utilize a jump?
Steal snow from the run over.
Oh, yeah, fuck those alpine skiers.
That's tricky. I mean, going back to that business speak conversation we were having a little earlier, I mean, you got to look at it as a business. Like, what is the best bang for your buck? Where are you going to get the most happy people that are going to come and buy lift tickets? Like, is it more rails or is it one jump? In my gut tells me in that situation, more features is better than fewer. That's me.
Hi, y'all have already talked about working some pretty crazy hours to get certain projects done. Is there a favorite time that y'all feel more creative or more productive, like daytime, nighttime?
Whenever I'm most awake. Probably daytime, just because you can see everything. It's less of a mind fuck.
Yeah, I'd agree. Daytime. You can line things up better. You generally have more clarity because that's a more normal operating time frame for a human being.
Well, and honestly, like when I'm in the Snowcat, a lot of times the music I have playing in the Snowcat kind of dictates how creative I am. Like you got to have the right vibes going on.
Yeah. What is that vibe?
Yeah, what is that music? Is it Taylor Swift?
So I don't know. I don't listen to a whole lot of hip hop, but when I'm in the Snowcat, like hip hop gets me going. Like it gets me creative. Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know, hot take here, but like Maddie, run with me on this one. So like whenever I fucked up a feature in the terrain park and I lugged it into the welding bay and had to fix it.
Yep.
I hated. Yeah, no, it's for real. Yeah, I definitely fucked up some features. But Elias, like, where are you going with this? I hated. I was not motivated. I didn't want to do it. I didn't have the same type of enthusiasm. Not because I broke it, but I love welding. I love cutting things up and piecing things back together, or laying out a plan and gluing it together. But I hated doing it at night. I absolutely hated it. I did not. There was never really any motivation for me. I was always just trying to get back out there, and so it was the shittiest, fix that I could possibly just glue back together to get it on the hill. So, how important is it for you to lace together a plan that is from A to Z, comparatively to like a last minute fix? And I'm just trying to relate it to, if it's a cat mistake or somebody else's fault.
I love to have a plan. It is something that drives Lucas crazy because he definitely loves to build things on the fly.
Lucas.
But yeah, I think like the pressure of needing it back out right away, it has a lot to do with it. Like kind of just what the question was just asked, like when am I most creative? I'm most creative when I have the time to consider everything and think about things and plan things out. And then that's the best. And I'm like, okay, wow, I'm going into this calm. Approaching something with a chaotic mind is not going to, it may be cool for some people, but like personally, that's not what works. So I guess like in that instance, if you're like, I have to get this done right away, like taking 5 minutes to like do a little doodle and like assess what you actually have to work with rather than like diving right in and then digging yourself a bigger hole.
Yeah, that was not happening.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway. I understand it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But that's huge.
But like you just said it. I know we got to wrap up here and we're going to get going. But like the creative juices and the energies definitely flow when there's more of a formulated plan, however you land on whatever that is, comparatively to doing something that's last minute and not having a product that you're proud of. All right, so that's.
We had one more.
We got one more.
I heard we had one more.
One more. Okay.
I was just curious to who you look for when you're coming up with a new feature or a new park layout, who do you look for inspiration? Other builders or other resorts, other events that you've seen? Maybe personally, if you lose that creative, train of thought.
Great segue question.
Dave Franzen.
Dave, where are you? Maddie, who you got?
To me, it's a lot of, I guess, from not the snow point of view, but from steel, I take a lot of inspiration from, skate parks and street. I love flipping through, a street magazine and being like, what do people see out in the world that inspires them? And then how can I bring that into, a more controlled environment? And at the same time, a lot of, who I want to cater to. I like features that aren't just for the huge pros, but maybe a pro would love to hit because it's creative and interesting. I like the art side of it, being oh, how can I make this challenging to build, but also exciting people, but not frightening everyone.
No,
train parks are already very intimidating for a lot of people, but definitely skate parks for me.
Solid. Brandon?
Instagram.
Hashtag?
Yeah. Park crew, other riders, stuff I like to ride. I love watching skateboard videos. I'm a shit skater, but I love skating because
you and me both.
Yep. So yeah.
Myles.
When I go out and I build a park, I don't go in with a real plan. I like to get inspired by going out and pushing the snow around, seeing what I have, and just start building stuff. Like that's what inspires me to build the cool stuff. I get inspiration from the snow I'm moving around, just the area I'm in, whatever it is. It just kind of comes to me as I go, I guess.
One thing I've done too is I'll leave a sketchbook in the locker room, and I tell the kids just sketch whatever's on your mind. Doesn't mean I'm building it tonight or tomorrow night, but when I go to build a park, I'll flip through and be like, oh, fuck, this is cool. And this will work right on the breakover where we need a feature. So that's a good way too to get a bunch of ideas.
Yeah, the crew for sure. I mean, back when I was building full time, I was more of the logistics plan person and the layout person. We have this break over here, we have this there, and then I would really lean on my crew to come up with the ideas to fill in the holes. We know a jump works here, we know a jump works there, but what can we do in this zone? And then kind of let them have at it, and let the kids who can't run the snowcats but are super amped up throw ideas out there. I mean, some of them are going to be bad, but a lot of times you need to kind of take a step back and be I'm not the only creative one here. We have this whole team of people with ideas.
100%.
But you also need to be the stopgap to say that's a really bad idea.
That's important.
Whoa, that one sucks. We're not doing that one.
Yeah, whoa. But
yeah. Well, speaking of whoa, we're going to push pause because we've got an evening to get to. But I usually like to leave everybody in the room with a bit of an action item or a challenge. And I think there are 4 amazing people up here that everybody can talk to and ask questions to tonight and throughout the week. But as a caper, I would challenge you to just kind of consider, what in the world are you trying to get out of this week? You came out here, you flew out here, you drove out here, you've got all these different resources. What are you trying to get out of Cutters Camp this week? And so I would challenge you to come up with an answer to that question. What are you trying to achieve this week? If it's trying to be a great cat operator, awesome. What's maybe the one thing that you can work on that's tangible so that you can achieve that and take that back home? That's just an example, but I would encourage you to answer that question yourself. Thank you so much to Olivia, Tyler, our esteemed panelists, Ben, Finn, Prenoth, Rachel, everybody involved in organizing this effort this evening for our fireside chat, and we will see you across the street for dinner. Thank you so much.